Good morning. I'm Jason Mink, and welcome to Comics for Breakfast. Today we're going to go to the Old Guys Who Like Old Comics archives. We're going to pull 3 books from the back issue bins. We're going to crack them open, and we're going to see just what it is that makes those books special. It's new. It's you. It's breakfast.
Breakfast.
So here's a question. How much crazy can you cram into one comic book? Well, if you're Steve Ditko, the answer is all of it. Now, when I found this comic, I was legitimately excited. And why not? Here was a title that I'd never heard of before from one of my favorite creators. At a glance, it all seems Jake. It's your typical comics cover, illustrated in that unmistakable Ditko style. We've got some superheroes fighting here, a flat Stanley type, and General Ditko-esque flourishes going on. Sure, it's a mere echo of his former work, but the artist's hand is still clearly recognizable. But then, we get to the inside. For those of you who don't know, Steve Ditko was a proponent of Objectivism. Objectivism is a philosophy envisioned by Ayn Rand, a Russian-American writer. The name derives from the idea that human knowledge and values are objective. Rand described Objectivism as the concept of man as a heroic being, with his own happiness as his moral purpose in life, with productive achievement as his noblest ability, and reason as his only absolute. Her subsequent book, Atlas Shrugged, fully defined what would become the 4 tenets of Objectivism: reality, reason, self-interest, and capitalism. Over the course of Ditko's career, Rand's influence grew. While the seeds of this interest can be found as early as the mid-1960s, by 1985 it had come to inform every aspect of Ditko's life. Remember the commercial, "Palmolive? You're soaking in it." Well, replace the liquid soap with the teachings of Ayn Rand, and there you go. Any kid who picked this book up looking for a little excitement had to be disappointed. Here you have this cool-looking dude and crazy action on the cover, and then you get to the story. Tightly packed squares crammed full of exhaustive circular dialogue. If you find the nuances of debate or the topics of one man's obsession compelling reading, then you might get something out of this. Otherwise, it's just an ordeal, the equivalent of the 2 most boring people at the party still talking long after everyone else has gone home. It's like the comic part is an afterthought, something Ditko hurriedly scribbled in between the word balloons. But maybe I'm just a thicko and don't get it. Never rule that out. Christmas comes early in the form of this story's merciful conclusion. But wait, there's more. Judging from the panel layout and writing style, Kasaa Gay was Ditko's attempt at a daily strip. From the jump, it's a heck of a lot livelier, with spaceships, aliens, and warrior women. In fact, it's such a dramatic 180 from the last story I felt a little dizzy, but that may just be my mimosa. Reading this, and it's as though I'm looking at Mr. Ditko's proposal for a cartoon or toy line. We have our brightly clad blonde space hero, his ugly alien adversaries, some sexy space sirens, rocket sleds, and enough 10-cent words to fill a Charlton comic from 1985. Things were winding down at Charlton by the mid-1980s, and it's clear that they were just publishing anything to offer some product. It's genuinely heartbreaking to think that nothing came of all of Ditko's effort here. Something like this could have fit comfortably alongside Saturday morning fare, like Kirby's designed Thundar the Barbarian. It's a real shame. Next up, have you guys heard of this scooter? Because I feel like, I don't know, I've seen something like this before. Now, I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's a nagging familiarity to these teeners, a sense that all of this has appeared somewhere before. I don't know, maybe that's just me. All jokes aside, by the late 1960s, Archie Comics had not only established themselves as a contender on the comics rack, but they'd scored a #1 pop hit with their song Sugar Sugar, netting the property a Saturday morning cartoon and an exposure to an even wider audience. In spite of their own successes, both Marvel and DC wanted their cut of the teen humor pie as well, and so the newsstand was hit with a deluge of Archie lookalikes. Like Scooter here. As for the familiarity, it's no surprise, as this book was illustrated by Stan Goldberg, who spent decades on the Archie line. Indeed, his style became synonymous with Archies of a certain era, as much as Dan DiCarlo, Harry Lucy, or Bob White are identifiable with theirs. I was never a big fan myself, but hey, the guy got plenty of work, so what do I know? As this is a DC comic, the stories can go beyond mere parody, actually using characters like Superman to tell their stories. This isn't really a good thing for a number of reasons. For a start, using Superman as a punchline in a book published by his own company seems to slightly undermine his value as a flagship character. How am I supposed to take him seriously when he's involved in these sort of shenanigans? Not to mention, not just anybody should be allowed to draw Superman. I mean, DC, he's your #1 hero. And this isn't gonna fly. I mean, it'll fly, but not good. And then you have this little mystery as posed by our cover. Can you tell me how much of Dave Riordan is Sweet Pain? Say, if we were to develop a pie graph, how would these quantities be allocated? Because I'm completely in the dark on this one. Or at least I was, because in this column, Dave is very helpful in telling me things about the sweet pain that he suffers on a daily basis and how he wishes to inflict it on you. But I kid, Dave. Hey, this is the guy who wrote Green-Eyed Lady and went on to have a long and illustrious career not only in entertainment but in the world of video game design. Remember Ball Blazer? Remember that classic video game adaptation of the Hulk Hogan TV classic Thunder in Paradise? All Dave, baby. All Dave. And hey, this thing is a 25-center, so it's packed. We have stories featuring all of Scooter's gang, but honestly, I'd just as soon focus on some of these ads. Anyone want to play my Chinese torture game with me? No? How about Kneesies? Fine. I can amuse myself. Thanks to Mike Jones for this book. Wrapping things up, we're going to turn to the world of wonder. Weird Wonder. It's Weird Wonder Tales number 16, which is a gift from Tom Orzechowski. Thanks, Tom. Rich Buckler provides this thrilling Jaws-inspired cover, and what self-respecting kid wouldn't want a copy of this, huh? Our first story, The Shark, is illustrated by Joe Sinnott, and it's a corker. Our hard-boiled hero, Harpoon McKay, hunts sharks for a living, but when a beauticious brunette offers him a cool 10 Gs to ice a hammerhead, things take a decidedly deadly turn. Unexpectedly, the dame is killed and dropped in the drink, feeding the very shark that our hero has been hired to kill. McKay loses a leg, but tumbles the game of some savvy diamond thieves, which I guess is a happy ending. Our buddy here seems okay with it. Our next tale features Venus, a sort of semi-heroine from Marvel's Atlas Comics era. The story is about a mysterious box that offers anyone willing to open it weird and wonderful powers, but these come at a terrible price. While the writing is okay, it's Bill Everett's artwork that makes this one a glittering gem. The story possesses that dark and panicky energy that all the best horror offered back then, with Everett's fearsome imagery straining at the panels. The hapless box boy is unable to resist temptation, and the evil within the box claims him in a truly nightmarish manner. We get an intense and visceral transformation scene, leading to a terrifying subway platform showdown between Venus and this bloodthirsty monster, the sort of breakneck tension that the best horror stories are made of. The last tale is a bit of a letdown. It's a cookie-cutter pre-Marvel Age sci fantasy about a magic pencil. Yeah. Kirby does the art here, but it's nothing to get excited about. The whole thing seems cranked out and feels like a real letdown after the previous two stories, but like the man said, they can't all be Maseratis. In the end, this is a surprisingly solid book for being a second-tier horror reprint title from the 70s. It just goes to show you, there's still gold in them thar hills. And there you have it. I'd like to thank you for joining us for breakfast. Please tune in next week for more old comics fun. For the old guys who like Old Comics Network, I'm Jason Mink. If you enjoyed this breakfast, please consider supporting us at the link below. Boom Shanka.
A peaceful day in the Honeycomb hideout is suddenly interrupted by...
The Hulk!
A big Hulk want big cereal!
Honeycomb, you better come through. Brace yourself, Hulk. Honeycomb's big.
It's got a big bite that tastes right.
Big enough for a Hulk?
Just try it.
Who's Honeycomb cereal big and part of balanced breakfast? Hulk, go!
Don't forget your honeycomb.
Honeycomb big!
And it's got a big